How can we add more value to the sessions that we run as outdoor activity instructors? Watch the rest of this video to find out. This video is all about some easy ways to add value to the sessions that you run, looking at things like expectations and strategies to help you stand out and highlight the great work that you're already doing. Hi, my name's Noel. I've been an outdoor activity instructor for over a decade now, and welcome to Instructor 101. If this is your first time here, then make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on other future content for outdoor activity instructors. People's definition of what value is going to vary depending on the circumstances, the person, and the session that you're going to run. Now, one of the best strategies that you can put in place is to ask people what they want to get out of the session. Now, if you can do that sooner rather than later, that is going to be a huge help, because that way you can plan ahead. You can start thinking about the qualities that they want to get out of their experience. So if they want to work on teamwork or confidence building or social awareness, you can start thinking about those things earlier on and then try and work the session around that. Even better, that way you've not only worked out what their expectations are, but you can also hopefully exceed that. What's also good about this method is that you can manage expectations as well. So if people have got an unrealistic idea of what's achievable within a certain time frame, you can start to manage that earlier rather than have to disappoint people later on or surprise people because of that disappointment. So you can also focus on things in a different way. Now, some sessions are easier to focus on teamwork than others. But for example, if someone said to me that we want to focus on teamwork, yet we're doing a zip wire session, and zip wires, generally speaking, are more of an individual activity, then it's going to be harder to do that. So you might want to start thinking about how you address that and whether it's going to meet the expectations of those that you're working with. Quality or quantity? There is often a debate about what's better, quality or quantity, but if you're all about providing value, you'll do both. It's just about balancing the needs and the ability of the client with the situation that you're in. In terms of quantity, it's about planning how you structure your session and time management. You can have things set up before your client even arrives. You can have your equipment set up, you have all your ropes set up, you could have your harnesses and helmets lined up, ready for clients just to step in, pull them up and then tighten them up, and that's easy, good to go. You could even think about how you drip feed bits of info. Do you need to drip feed the info throughout the session so they get more value and more knowledge? Or do you just blast them all with that information right at the start when you meet them? Think about it. It's depending on the situation and what's happening at the time, but that time management is going to help. Of course, the other option is just work faster. So going faster is a viable option, but there's a difference between going fast and rushing. Now, when you rush, that's when mistakes are going to happen. And when it comes down to safety, that's something that we can't afford to do. So think very carefully about that. Also, think about burnout. Now, by burnout, what I mean is like just burning yourself out and running yourself into the ground. If you're struggling to look after yourself, then you're going to struggle to look after the group. So think about that too. Rushing around doesn't always look professional either. Sometimes it can make your operation look really sloppy. So sometimes it's just better to go slow as well, just even for that. So now let's have a look at how to add quality. Earlier on, we were talking about drip feeding information. Now, if I was taking clients out walking in like some mountainous areas, I could start talking about the local history, even talk about the mythology. I could look at the flora and fauna. I could even just start talking about some mountains in other parts of the world and how they compare. So talking about the mountain that we're climbing up at the time and then compare it to, say, Everest. Adding little bits of extra info like that is going to add that little bit of an extra wow factor and context to what it is that you're doing. Also, it shows that you're knowledgeable and shows that you're professional. And that's because you are, so you might as well demonstrate it, and it helps you out as well. Setting lots of different challenges throughout the session or throughout the day helps break up the day. It makes things more memorable so people can see the progress that they make and they can see the extra value that you're adding. It makes it more enjoyable too. So providing that you give the right level of challenge, so it's not too easy and not too hard, then people will go away like remembering that and enjoying it. Sometimes it's about just pointing things out to people as well. So pointing out the value of a session can be easily done. But even better, if you think about how you structure a session, it's really obvious. So at the start of an activity which is at height, so if you went to climb a wall, ask the people how they feel at the start of the session, or ask them to at least think about it. And then at the end, once everything's finished, you can ask the group the same question. Okay, how do you feel now? So instead of being nervous at the start of the session, they might be now saying, oh, I feel really proud of what I've done. So pointing out the value is also a legitimate way of highlighting the value that you get from a session. It's just worth pointing it out. On the note of structuring a session, make sure your group control is on point as well. I've often seen it, and it's happened to me, where at the end of a session, you finish off whatever it is that you're doing, and then the group starts wandering off because they're thinking about whatever they need to be doing next and kind of leaving you behind. Now that does happen, but if you end up getting everyone together, you can then say thank you to them. You can give like a bit like a performance. The end of a performance matters because that's what they remember. Instead of it being really flat, it could be actually, oh, this is really good, and I've gained something from this, and I've really enjoyed it, and I want to do it again. That way it's a lot more memorable. So think about how you finish that show or session. Part of providing value to a session is showing that you value what the clients think as well. So getting them to lead parts of the session, ask them what they would like to do next, what challenge. So you could offer like a menu or some options of what they could do next. Would they like to just explore the caving system a little bit, or would they like a few different challenges to do that instead? You're asking the party leader as well to help guide that. That way they're not disappointed because it's the decisions that they've made as well. So they're almost leading their own expectations. So that's worth thinking about. The last tip that I'm going to think about is pointing out where people can go to next after the session. So for me, I do a lot of taster and intro sessions. That's part of my job. But I like to point out where people can go to next, because hopefully I've inspired people to try and do that activity again, or I've at least sparked an interest. So pointing out where they can go to find extra info is really helpful. So whether that's physically giving out resources, or whether there's places on the center where they can find out different information, to going online, or being able to send out an email to the people that I've worked with. So I know some coaches that I've worked with in the past on their courses, they've sent me an email with loads of links in it for me to explore further. It's added extra value and shows further reading if I do want to pursue it, but it shows their knowledge as well. So I think that's really valuable, and make sure you do that, because yeah, it just shows that extra insight and care. So obviously all the stuff here is not like the entire way of adding value to a session from an outdoor activity instructor's point of view. I would love to hear what your strategies are, how you'd like to apply things, and what other things would you include in this list? Let me know in the comments down below. If this video has been useful, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Also, feel free to check out my other useful resources for outdoor activity instructors on Instagram and Facebook. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care.